Alice, what can you tell us about this dispute?
Hi there, good afternoon. I don't know if you can see, but behind me, right in front of course, the world-famous hospital, we've got a number of people who are gathered here and are protesting. They've been here for the last half hour or so, but of course, this strike action began yesterday and it will be continuing on to Thursday, and it all revolves around the security guards who they say took on additional responsibilities during the pandemic, took on additional responsibilities that NHS workers would normally do, but crucially they say they are not entitled to the same NHS benefits because they are not employed by them. So they've gone on strike that began yesterday and will be continuing over the next few days or so. And I'm joined now by Petrus Elia, who is General Secretary of the United Voices of the World Union. Thanks for joining me. Firstly, talk to me about how the security guards have taken on roles and stepped up in terms of responsibilities during the pandemic.
Yeah, well, they've been applauded as heroes, as key workers, as pandemic heroes. They've had to keep this hospital safe. They've had to help with patient care on occasion. They've had to do responsibilities that they would never normally be asked to do. And all the thanks they've been given is that they, well, just the literal word of thank you has been given to them. They've been given no additional remuneration. They've been given no additional benefits whatsoever. And importantly, they have not been brought into the NHS along with their cleaner colleagues, porters and caterers that have also just been brought in-housed and employed directly by the NHS.
Now, these security guards, they work for a private company. Many people watching this may be thinking, well, why are you not protesting outside the doors of that company rather than protesting outside the doors of this hospital, which doesn't employ them?
Yeah, that's a good question. So they are employed by a private contractor, but GOSH is the ultimate decision maker in terms of the contracts that they get, in terms of the terms and conditions that they get. And if they want to in-house them, they can in-house them. And it was a decision to outsource them in the first place. GOSH controls almost every aspect of their work. And our argument, and the reason why the workers are on strike here today, is that they should be employees of the NHS. Scotland has effectively outlawed the outsourcing of facility services, as has Wales and as Northern Ireland. And in England, only 40% of NHS trusts continue to outsource. So it is a dying phenomenon. It was an ideological phenomenon that Margaret Thatcher introduced in the 1980s and made it mandatory for NHS trusts to outsource. That is now thankfully a declining trend, and hospitals are realising the huge benefits that they can bring to the workers and to the services that are provided in the hospitals by providing an in-house service. And the security guards are asking for nothing more than to be treated as equals, given NHS sick pay, which they're being denied, given NHS pensions, redundancy pay, overtime hours, unsociable hours, all of these amazing benefits that the NHS workers rightly receive. The security guards are being denied, and they are being treated as second-class workers, and they have said enough is enough, and they have been forced to take this action because GOSH has refused to sit down and talk to them and negotiate with them.
Now, one of the issues that you're trying to address is you say that this is an example of racial discrimination. Can you explain specifically why it's racial discrimination, what's happening? Because it sounds to me a lot of it is really about workers' rights.
It's about workers' rights and it's about race. So on the workers' rights front, you've got a bunch of security guards that have the worst terms and conditions in the hospital. Every other group of workers has better terms and conditions than them, including cleaners, porters and caterers. So on that front, it's just simply unfair. But then we've got another argument, which is that it's also unlawful, because the security guards are 99% from black and ethnic minority backgrounds. In the NHS, there are far fewer black and ethnic minority workers, and this is an example of institutional racism, which is not just a statement, it is a matter of law now. There was a recent employment tribunal case which showed that a group of park cleaners brought against the Royal Parks, who were outsourced to a private contractor. They showed that it was actually what's called indirect race discrimination, which in layman's terms is effectively institutional racism, to keep a group of black and ethnic minority workers on inferior contracts to what they would get were they in-housed along with their majority non-black and ethnic minority workers in the NHS. And so this is a fight for racial equality, it's a fight against institutional racism, and it's a fight for workers' rights. And GOSH, unfortunately, has refused to try and resolve this dispute in any way, and have pushed them into this situation today, which is really disappointing that strike action is having to be taken in the middle of a pandemic just to secure, one example, full pay sick pay, which every worker deserves, particularly workers, key workers in a hospital.
Petrus, thank you so much for speaking to me. I'm just going to be staying here outside the world-famous Great Ormond Street Hospital as a series of strikes that began yesterday, continuing on to Thursday, and that involves the security guards here at the hospital.
Thank you, Alice.